Good afternoon. Thanks for all coming to the sort of post-lunch session. I'll try and keep you awake in terms of what I'm trying to show. My name's Ajay Chowdhury. I'm Chief Executive of ComQi. And what I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit about multi-channel retailing, what retailers should be looking for, how digital signage fits in with what they do. And very, very rashly, I'm going to try and end with some demos showing some of the interactive products we've got. I've just been told there's Wi-Fi over here, just in my little bit, so nobody else can log on to it. And we'll try and make that work. If I can't make it work, I'll do a tap dance or something to entertain you. So let me just kick off by talking a little bit about what are we talking about when we talk about multi-channel retailing. Steve Jobs, when he was looking at building the iPhone, didn't say, how do we get a 2% market share in the world mobile phone market? He said, how do we reinvent the telephone? Similarly, retailers shouldn't be saying, how do we create a store that's going to do $15 million a year? They should be saying, how do we reinvent the store? This is something that Ron Johnson, who was Apple's head of retail, said a couple of years ago. And amazingly, he then kind of put his money where his mouth was, and he left Apple and joined JCPenney. And the first thing JCPenney announced was that they're going to reinvent department store retailing and make it a completely different concept, just the way Apple did with their retail stores. What does this actually mean? Well, it means linking up marketing silos within retail. Right now, some retailers do digital signage, they do end caps, they do floor displays, they do all kinds of things, but they're not linked up at all. They're all handled separately, they're sold separately, and they don't know who is seeing what. So the first issue is, how do you link this up, given that the internet is a hyper-connected world and bricks and mortar retailing is not hyper-connected. 95% of transactions today still happen in bricks and mortar retailing. E-commerce, on average, is only 5% of transactions. It varies category by category. Books and electronics, it's much higher, but overall, it's only 5%. But retailers need to start thinking about this because the expectations of consumers have changed. And that's the second bit. The way expectations of consumers have changed is it's not become about you show an ad to a customer, they remember the ad, they go into the store, and then they buy the washing powder. It's now become about recency and relevancy. What does that mean? There's a very classic cycle of how decisions are made when you buy something. It starts with awareness. You get aware of a new product that's come in. It then goes to consideration. You consider, do I want to buy the product? You transact, and then you tell somebody, that was a great product I bought, or that was a terrible product I bought. That was the typical way that products were sold 5, 10 years ago, and had been sold for hundreds of years before that. That's completely changed now. All of these things are now completely mixed up. If I'm in a store, I could get a text from a friend or see something on Facebook which says, this is fantastic, and suddenly everything's compressed. I could look at a product and say, I want to buy that, and then read a review of it on Amazon which says it was terrible, and I don't buy it. So suddenly, everything has changed, and retailers have to decide, how do we embrace this change? And what do you do in a social mobile world? How does a bricks and mortar retailer work in a social mobile world? Amazon did a promotion in the US about, I think, 6 or 9 months ago, where they told people that if they downloaded the Amazon app and went into a bookstore and scanned the barcode of the book they wanted to buy, Amazon would give them an immediate 10% off the Amazon price of that book, if they were in the store. So people are now using the store as a way to browse for product, and then they're buying it online. I'm sure a lot of people here have done that to some extent. In electronics, it's even worse. You're using the store to get all the expert information on the product, where you walk into the store and you get the very helpful salesperson for half an hour to tell you about the great features of this television. It's absolutely wonderful. And then you go online and you buy it on Amazon. What does a retail do to compete in that world? So let me tell you about some of the ideas that we have about how retailers and our clients can work like this. Let me tell you a little bit about ourselves first. We've been doing this since 2000. We're a global company. We're headquartered in New York, offices in Jerusalem, Toronto, all around the world, and London. We've been powering hundreds of networks around the world, over 400,000 screens, and have been voted the #1 digital signage player for many, many years. And we work with some fantastic clients. You can see the brands of the clients that we work with on the right-hand side. So that was the ad for ourselves. Now let's really focus on what retailers are thinking about. There are 4 key things that retailers are thinking about today. The first is, how do we compete effectively with online? Are smartphones a threat or an opportunity? One of the retailers, when they heard what Amazon was doing, was trying to jam the smartphone signals within their shop so people couldn't get the coverage. That's really not the way to go. How do we avoid point solutions and manage costs? The first slide I showed was that retailers were doing everything in silos. How do they avoid that and start connecting these things up? And finally, how much do they really know about their customers? When you walk into a big shop, how much does the retailer know about you? When you shop with Amazon or you shop with the retailer online, they know everything about you. They know your name, your address, your credit card number, exactly what you've bought. But when you walk into that shop on Oxford Street or on Fifth Avenue or on the Champs-Élysées, they have no idea who you are. How do they start connecting the dots? So we think there are 4 key things that retailers should do. The first is make the in-store experience as attractive as possible. You need to give people a reason to go into the retail shop and not shop online. And making it an attractive shop really helps. So if you take a brand like Hollister, Hollister and Abercrombie & Fitch have really invested in making their shops destinations. Apple has done the same thing. Hollister has these huge iconic video walls in their shops, and all it shows is waves from a beach in California 24 hours a day, from a live camera on the beach. Not very exciting, but it's iconic, links to their brand, it's about surfing, it's about the California ethos, and it really works for them. So you want to make it as attractive as possible. So one example of a really attractive digital signage shop is a picture that I happened to take a few months ago. Their digital signage was a box hung from the ceiling with a little sticker on it. They actually had 2 LCD screens, but they weren't working, so they'd kind of stuck little posters on top of it. That doesn't really work in today's environment. That's not the kind of digital signage that we would recommend for anybody. What do you need to do to make it work? The first thing you need to do is understand your customer's frame of mind. What does that mean? If somebody is going grocery shopping, they're in a very different frame of mind than if they're going to Abercrombie & Fitch or if they're going to Toys R Us. When you're grocery shopping, you want to be in and out. You know what you want to buy. You don't necessarily want to look at digital signage. You want to get your stuff and get out as soon as you can. Abercrombie & Fitch or H&M is an experience. You want to enjoy the experience. You want to take your time doing it. Or if you're like me, they don't let me into Abercrombie & Fitch at all. But you essentially want to create an experience for that retailer. So it means understanding their frame of mind and having the right media for the right frame of mind. We work with Toys R Us. And there's an interesting analysis we did with Toys R Us in terms of where should the screens be with Toys R Us. So we started by putting some screens right in the entrance and running some ads on it. And we discovered it didn't really work because a harried mother would come into Toys R Us with 2 or 3 children, and the kids start running off to go and look at the toys. She doesn't want to look at a screen. She wants to figure out, where are my kids gone? Now, if the screen showed her wayfinding and showed her where different things were, it then fulfills a completely different purpose. As she went through Toys R Us, her frame of mind changed. When she came to a shelf edge, then she was interested in knowing, is this product better than this product? And putting signage there that helps them make that decision between the 2 products becomes extremely useful. As she goes to the checkout, the frame of mind is again different. There's no point showing her great products that are in the store because she's not going to leave the queue and go back into the store again. But showing her branding for Toys R Us, come back, here are some of the things you can get when you come back, changes. So understanding that frame of mind and making your media work with the frame of mind is very important. And that's how it reinforces what the customer wants and reinforces your brand and gets you to sell more stuff. So some examples. This is an example of CNA, which we did with our partner MediaZest, or MediaZest did, which essentially has a hologram for a CNA store in Germany. It essentially really catches the eye and gets somebody coming into the store because it creates an environment that makes people want to come in because it's kind of different. That's an example of what you can do outside the store. Inside the store, we have this product called Delay Mirror. It's a mirror that delays the live video feed by 3 seconds. H&M have installed this outside their changing rooms. So you can now try something on, turn around, see what you look like from the back. Very simple idea and a very powerful idea. When it's not working, it can show digital signage. So suddenly you've got something that has real utility for the consumer, where they can try something out, look at it from all angles, and not have to crane their neck looking to see how it looks from the back. You could do cleverer things with it. You could take a photograph and send it up to Facebook. There are a number of things you can now do with these connected mirrors. So it starts getting interesting. The second issue is, how do you leverage the smartphone and say the smartphone is an opportunity and not a threat to create a really seamless consumer experience? What we've done here is, so let's talk about why we want to do this with the smartphone. Smartphones have over 50% consumer penetration, and it's rising fast. And it's changing the way people shop and consume media. So the normal funnel, as I said, of awareness, interest, decision, and action is now compressed. Smartphones are being used for shopping reviews, price comparisons, scanning in the shop, etc., etc. And retailers have the opportunity to really close the loop between the online and the bricks and mortar business. And the way we believe you do this is you get your smartphone interacting with the digital signage in the store without an app. What does this mean? The example I give is, I have a 15-year-old daughter called Layla, and she shops online with H&M. And when she's online, as I said, they know everything about her. When she walks into that Oxford Street shop, they have no idea she's there. So all that knowledge they've gleaned about her has suddenly disappeared. The question is, how can H&M know that Layla is in that Oxford Street shop? How do they know who she is and where she is? Some ways people are doing it is when they go to checkout, if she gives them a loyalty card, they know she's been here, but now she's checked out. They can't do much with it other than know, well, she happens to have been in the shop. So the interesting thing is, can you make Layla check in when she goes into the shop so they know, aha, she's in the shop, this is the shop she's in, now let me make her specific offers based on her shopping habits. And what I'd like to do after the end of the presentation is give you some examples of these mobile experiences, assuming I get the Wi-Fi to work. We've created something called ComQi Interactions. What is it? It's a mobile platform that lets a consumer interact with and control a digital signage screen without having to download an app. Why is that important, not having to download an app? The research has shown a couple of things. Number one, about 5% of loyal customers will download an app. They have to be pretty loyal. So 95% of the people walking into your shop are not going to have it. The second research has shown, and I think all of you will experience this, is people are finding app overload. They read about an app, they download it, they use it once, and then they forget about it. It doesn't really get used again. Typically, only 8 to 10 apps on your phone, and on average, people have between 20 and 30. Only 8 to 10 get used with any regularity. So you need to give people a reason to use it. So if you can do something without an app, that takes away some of the friction and makes this frictionless. We believe there are 4 things that you can do with a consumer in a venue. The first is entertain them. If there's some wait time, let them play a game, a single-player game, a multiplayer game on their phone. So one of our clients in the US is a company called Six Flags, an amusement park. The wait time for a ride with Six Flags could be anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes while you're waiting for a ride. They've got digital signage screens which have our content on them. So now people can stand in front of a screen while they're waiting in line, and with your friend you can play a whack-a-mole game on that screen. Real value added. And that game can be sponsored. So Six Flags can now make money doing that. You can get money off products. Money off is a massive incentive for people. So if you can give them some ways to get money off products, to get coupons when they're in the store, that's very powerful. Typically, when you leave a grocery store, they might give you some coupons when you leave, so you can redeem it next time you come back. But wouldn't it be great if you could get these coupons as you walked into the store? The third is getting more product information. Just today, we launched a video-on-demand product. So this is something where you can have a digital signage screen in, say, a car dealership, where you've got 8 or 10 models of cars on the screen. And again, using your phone as a remote control, you can select one of those models and play a video of that car. And finally, most importantly, or very importantly, linking to social networks. Bringing all the linkages in to Facebook, to Twitter, to Foursquare, etc., is very important. So these are some ways that people can interact with screens within a retail environment. The examples I'm going to show you, and I'll show you this after I finish the presentation, is a flash sale, where you have a sale that's on for a limited period of time, and the more people that interact with the screen, the more the price comes down. You can run the sale on the same time on the web as you do in store. So now you're creating an event, a 30-minute event, which says come at between 12 and 12:30, interact with this, and the more people that interact, the price comes down. It's the Groupon model, but we bring it into a store environment. Voting and couponing. I'll show you an example of this. Vote for your favorite perfume brand and win a prize. Games. Use your phone as a remote control to suddenly play Tetris on the screen. And social, and I'll show you an example of this. Link this to Facebook, put your comments on about things that you like, etc. And then finally, Shazam. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Shazam. Any of you familiar with Shazam? Any of you have it on your phone? Well, if you take your phone out now, launch Shazam, give you an example of what you might be able to do, with Shazam. So if the audio is working, what we have here, what I'm going to show you, is an ad for Philadelphia cream cheese with audio. And let's hope we get the audio right.
Spread a little love today, spread a little something to remember. Spread a little joy and see, need a little happiness to be living the life with me.
Now what's happened here is normally Shazam is a music recognition service. It would normally come back and tell you the name of the song. What it does now is it comes back and gives you information on Philadelphia. It gives you recipes, it gives you a little video for the recipe, it gives you another recipe, it gives you a coupon that you can redeem within the store, it links you to the Philadelphia website, the Philadelphia Twitter feed. It's suddenly very, very powerful. And 200 million people around the world have downloaded Shazam. So we've done a deal with them to bring this into digital signage, which suddenly makes it. Did it work for you, sir? So, so it's very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful indeed. So let's move on, and then I'll show you the final examples. So finally, what are the benefits of doing all this? Well, it identifies the customer to give them tailored offers within the store. It entertains the customer and makes it a fun shopping experience. You can control all of your in-store media from one platform, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Improves your customer retention and brand image. Very importantly, collect valuable customer data. As I said earlier, most retailers do not know who's in their shop. This is a way you can start beginning to collect that data and know who is there and who is shopping with you. And increases their customer satisfaction and ultimately generates sales. The third issue, use one platform to manage all of your in-store communication so you can have a seamless conversation. What does this mean? Well, I apologize for the small letters here. We provide a platform that consists of hardware, software, and services. The services are done through our partners. And that one software platform controls your digital signage, touch screens, music, video walls, delay mirror, mobile, Shazam, IPTV, virtual mannequins that we're doing with MediaZest, social, queue management. We've integrated with queue management systems. So now you don't have to have different software doing these different things. You have your one platform that's in the cloud, and you can now send content, data, get data back on all of your in-store media, and you can make it work seamlessly. So for H&M, they may have 22 screens in their store. It could show 22 different things, or at Christmas, you can suddenly have all 22 screens magically start showing the same snowflakes. So it creates in-store retail theater. And very importantly, you can then measure the impact and reporting. So with McDonald's, we can link into their point-of-sale system and say, okay, we ran the ad for McFlurries. Did the sale of McFlurries go up? The second thing we can do as McDonald's is run triggers. So we can say it's hot outside, run McFlurries. It's cold outside, automatically run coffee, because more people are likely to buy coffee than McFlurries when it's cold outside. So suddenly this one platform becomes very powerful. Finally, it's about analytics. This is understanding what your customer wants. We've done a deal with a company called Path Intelligence out of the UK. And what they do is they detect every shopper carrying a phone. So it measures the ping of every phone that talks that sends the signal back to the base station. And it can then measure where people are moving through a shop or through a shopping mall. This gets very interesting because you can see where are people stopping. If there's a digital sign there, did they stop in front of it? What was the dwell time? If they completely ignored it, maybe the sign's in the wrong place. And in a shop or a shopping mall, you can also sit down and say, the people who went to ladies' wear also went to men's wear, but they didn't go to children's. So you can create these heat maps which begin to tell you how to direct traffic. We did a really interesting experiment with them, with Macy's in the US, where Macy's told us that their biggest problem was what's called conversion rate. That 67% of people who walked into Macy's walked out without buying anything. Now, 98% of people who walk into a supermarket buy something, because you go to the supermarket to buy something. But in Macy's, 2/3 of the people didn't buy anything. So we put some path intelligence software in there to see, well, where are people going? And we discovered in this particular Macy's, 15% of the people were using it as a shortcut to go to the parking lot. So they had no intention of buying anything at all. Now, Macy's can then decide what to do with that data. Now that they have that data, do they want to shut the door to the parking lot? Do they want to start putting signage in? Do they want to route people in a different way? Or do they just say, well, that's what it is, we're going to ignore that and look at the real numbers? So what's the takeaway? The first is, how do you compete effectively with online? You've got to embrace what we call experiential shopping. Are smartphones a threat and opportunity? Embrace multi-channel shopping. How do you avoid point solutions? Have a single platform. And how much do you really know about your customers? Embrace data, information, and insights. So I'm now going to try and show you some examples, live examples of what I was talking about. So let me start with a game of Tetris. So the idea here is that you have a game of Tetris that's on a screen. If you happen to have a scanning application, you can scan the the code, or you can just put the URL in and use the URL. So let me just try scanning this and seeing what happens. What happens when I scan it, I get a little controller on my phone, which says play Tetris. So I hit start, I put my name in, I hit join. And now, I'm now controlling that screen with my phone. Hey, it's working. This is all happening through the cloud. I'm not doing it locally here. As I press this, it's sending a signal to our servers in Toronto, and it's sending it back to the digital signage screen to control it and let me play Tetris. Right? It's very quick, very easy. I didn't have to download anything to do it. Let me show you another example. This is a social example of Olympics. So again, what's happening here is, there's something for the Olympics. It's letting you choose your favorite sport and watch a video. So again, on my phone, I get something saying vote now. Let me do this through Facebook. So I'll link this through Facebook. So I'm just linking to Facebook now on my phone. And it comes back and gives me a choice of which sports do I want and to write a comment. So let me write a comment. Love screen media. And we'll pick, let's pick volleyball. So I pick volleyball. And what it does now, it's going off to the servers, picking volleyball. Went to Facebook, got my picture from Facebook, put my comments on the screen, and ran a little volleyball video for me. All through the cloud, all seamlessly, all very, very quick. Let me show you the example of the flash sale. Oops, sorry, I haven't opened this up yet. So I have this sale that's on for 30 minutes now. The group deal is $99, but if people interact with it, as I'm going to try and do right now, it'll bring the price down. So again, I hit start. I'll do this through Facebook again. Stephen, are you trying to do it as well? Stephen's trying to do it as well over there. It says join in and save, so let me buy it. I've just bought it. The price came down to 94 bucks. You see it came down. Picture comes up over there saying this person has bought it. Let's see if Stephen does it there. The price should come down even more. How are you doing there, Stephen? There we go. So Stephen just did it. His picture comes up. He's done it as well, and the price has come down. So the idea here is that we can now bring the price down if I get my friends to do this, and I get a coupon back on my phone that lets me redeem it within the store. And it's only on for the next 28 minutes. I can run the same thing on the web. And this gets very interesting because you're now linking offline and online in a very powerful way. Another example would be voting for different perfumes and giving people. So here I've got the opportunity to vote for my favorite perfume brand. So again, comes up on my phone. It basically says, hit start. Other people can play as well, by the way. Just put in comqi.me/e into your browser, and it should work. I do this through. Let me do it through Facebook again. It's just quicker. I'm a Chanel kind of guy, so I'm going to pick Chanel. Immediately, thanks for voting for Chanel. You'll sit down and see the Chanel votes will have gone up now. And again, I get a little coupon to give me some money up. I'm the only person who's voted. That's why the vote has gone up. So very, very powerful. I'm running out of time here, so I won't show you the next one. But this is a multiplayer one. So this is where two people can play a whack-a-mole game, where Steve and I could both log on, and both of us could play against each other in a multiplayer environment. And then the final one, which we've done for the Premier League, which is one of our clients, is sitting down and voting on football and saying what will the final result be. Maybe I should have put Bayern Munich and Chelsea in saying what will the final result over here be. And again, it gets people interacting. So that's pretty much what I had. The idea here was to really show how can retailers embrace this. And they can embrace this by getting people to do what they're doing more and more naturally now, which is using their smartphone, interacting with things, and creating a fun environment for them within a venue. So thanks very much. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any questions.